Is it a two-horse race between Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar for the Norris Trophy? And is the Vezina Connor Hellebuyck's to lose? Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun sports columnist Steve Simmons and Postmedia hockey columnist Bruce Garrioch. And guys, as we inch towards the end of the regular season, we continue our look at the awards race in the NHL. And last week we spoke about the Jack Adams and Calder. This week it's the Norris and Vezina trophies, and we will begin with the Norris, which of course goes to the top defenseman. And Bruce, I feel like it's been two guys leading the charge all season long in Vancouver's Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, but players like Edmonton's Evan Bouchard and Nashville's Roman Josi have made a case as well. Is there a clear standout to you?
To me, it's Quinn Hughes. I mean, you at plus 38 on a team that, quite frankly, wasn't expected to be where they are right now. I think it's far and away Quinn Hughes, and I'm not sure. Look, I know that Cale Makar has had a great year. And I know he plays a big role for the Colorado Avalanche, but I look what Quinn Hughes has done for that team, and to me that plus 38 rating, Steve, just stands out. You know, I know it's not an offensive war, but he has got 70 points. You know, you could argue he's a candidate for the Hart Trophy on that team, quite frankly. I just think he's been outstanding, and I don't want to say it's not close because, Rob, it is close, and you're right. It is a two-horse race, but I think in my eyes, it's Quinn Hughes.
It shouldn't be a two-horse race, Bruce and Rob. It should be a three-horse race. In this season, there have been three defensemen who are significantly a jump ahead of everybody else. The three being Hughes, Makar, and Roman Josi. And if we push Roman Josi to the side, I think we're making a mistake. If you look at the first half of the season, Quinn Hughes was far and away the best defenseman in the NHL. It wasn't even close. You look at the second half of the season, Josi has, I know we don't talk points only, Josi has 11 more points than Hughes in the second half of the season. He is a plus 12 on Nashville. And Hughes is a plus 6. Bruce, you were pointing out the big plus minus for Hughes. First half was amazing. Second half, not as amazing. I think it's a three-horse race. And frankly, every time I watch Josi play, I think Norris Trophy. Every time I watch Hughes play, I think Norris Trophy. And every time I watch Makar play, I think Norris Trophy. And I think really three guys have had magnificent seasons. And I don't view this as a two-man race at all. And I'm not sure yet who I'm voting for.
And it's good to have that discussion because, you know, that one of the things that you and I both do when we sit down to do our ballots is we don't do it on our own. We speak to general managers. We speak to assistant general managers. We speak to scouts. We speak to head coaches. And I will start scouring those opinions probably sometime here this week because we're into the last week of the regular season. And then make my decision based on what those guys tell me. My own feeling is it's Quinn Hughes. That doesn't mean that's what everybody else will think.
Well, it's funny. I asked Victor Hedman that question when Tampa was in Toronto last week. You know, Victor Hedman being one of the best defensemen in hockey. I said, "Who are your Norris Trophy guys?" Who did he mention? Hughes, Makar, Josi. And I said, "What about you?" He said, "Well, maybe after that."
Yeah, he's been pretty good over the last several years, to say the least. Meanwhile, the Vezina Trophy is the one award that does always seem to go to the best statistical player at the goaltending position, Steve, but looked like Winnipeg's Connor Hellebuyck was running away with it until a shaky month of March. He's been better here in April, but statistically, some of the other goalies around the league have caught up to him. Is it still his award to lose, in your opinion?
I think it's a two-man race here again, and maybe three if you stick UC Saros in there. But I think it's Connor Hellebuyck and Sergei Bobrovsky. They have been the best goalies in the NHL, start to finish, right? You know, with 4 or 5 games left, whichever teams have left at this point. General managers vote for this award. It's a different kind of vote, and it always hasn't gone according to what those of us in the media might think. But I think if you talk to most hockey people, and Bruce and I do the same kind of things in getting to award time, we ask a lot of questions from a lot of different people to gather information. And I think if you gather the information on Connor Hellebuyck, he's a borderline Hart Trophy candidate. I think he's the favorite to win the Vezina. But I think Bobrovsky in Florida has had a magnificent season. I think he's won it twice before. This might be his third shot.
Well, and I'm with you. I think that Connor Hellebuyck has really, I mean, to me, he's the guy to beat. And all, of course, depends on what the general managers think. But I do like the way that Sergei Bobrovsky has bounced back this year. Last year it was kind of Alex Lyon and him who kind of got them to where they went last season. I believe that when they signed Bobrovsky, this is the Bobrovsky that they expected to get. I think that I think you can always put UC Saros in this discussion, and I think we're kind of looking past Georgiev a little bit, just because of the year that he's had now. His save percentage is probably not where it needs to be at .899, but I think that to me it's Hellebuyck, and I think that he can look in the playoffs. He can be the difference. And you're right, Steve. In the past, we've thought guys were going to win the Vezina, and the general managers vote a different way.
Well, Hellebuyck has a 2.41 goals against average at a time where everyone's goals against averages are up. So the numbers are up this year for just about every goalie. Bobrovsky's 2.43, virtually no difference between the two. Hellebuyck has a .920 save percentage. Bobrovsky's .913. That's not 7 points really when you do it. It's really 1 point, 91% to 92%. That's the difference. It's 0.7% difference between the two goalies in save percentage. So really, statistically, there's virtually no difference between the two unless you start getting into fancy stats and some other things. But to me, those two are a nudge ahead of the rest of the field. Georgiev gets the wins. Thatcher Demko's had a very good year in Vancouver. There's other candidates. Saros has had a very good year in Nashville. But I think the two, it's going to come down to one of those two, either Hellebuyck or Bobrovsky.
Yeah, a lot of great candidates in both of these categories. Who do you think should be the Norris and Vezina Trophy winners this year? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Steve Simmons and Bruce Garrioch, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week on another edition of Off the Post.